Tinder is an online dating app that has revolutionized the way people seek romantic relationships. With its simple and intuitive interface, the app has opened up a world of possibilities for those seeking love or even just a momentary connection. However, behind the enticing facade of Tinder, there are also some dangers to be aware of. While many honest and genuine people use Tinder, there are also individuals who exploit it for deceive others or much more nefarious purposes. Sarah was an ordinary young woman living in the bustling city of Chicago. She was smart, independent, and had a great group of friends. However, despite all this, she couldn't seem to find love. With her busy work schedule, she decided to give online dating a try. She downloaded Tinder and started swiping. One evening, as she swiped through profiles of potential matches, she stumbled upon a profile that caught her eye. The guy in the pictures looked charming, with a mischievous smile. His name was Daniel, and his profile mentioned a shared love for horror movies. Sarah was intrigued and she swiped right. To her surprise, they matched almost instantly. The excitement welled up inside her as she received a message from Daniel. Daniel: "Hey there, Sarah. I couldn't help but notice your love for horror movies. Ever seen a real-life ghost before?" Sarah chuckled at the message. She wasn't easily spooked and she enjoyed a good ghost story. Sarah: "Haha, no, but I'm open to the idea. Have you?" Daniel: "Let's just say I've had some unusual experiences." The conversation flowed easily between them. They chatted about their favorite horror films, shared creepy ghost stories, and even discussed their dream haunted house. Daniel seemed mysterious, but Sarah was drawn to that enigmatic aura. After a few days of texting, they decided to meet up at a local coffee shop. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she walked to the cafe. When she arrived, she spotted Daniel sitting by the window, sipping on a cappuccino. He looked just as charming in person as he did in his photos. They spent hours talking, laughing, and sharing more ghost stories. Daniel seemed to know an unsettling amount about the supernatural, but Sarah couldn't help but find it intriguing. As the evening turned into night, they decided to head to a nearby park for a walk. As they strolled through the dimly lit park, Sarah felt a sudden chill in the air. She shivered and wrapped her arms around herself. Daniel noticed her discomfort and offered his jacket. They continued walking, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on the trees. "Daniel, you know this park has a dark history." Sarah raised an eyebrow, curious. "Sarah, what do you mean?" Daniel: "Legend has it that it's haunted. People say they've seen figures in white robes wandering around at night." Sarah laughed, thinking he was trying to spook her. But then in the distance, she saw something that made her heart skip a beat. A faint figure in a white robe standing under a tree. "Sarah, did you see that?" Daniel turned to look but saw nothing. He chuckled. "Daniel, you're quite the actress, Sarah." Sarah insisted she'd seen something, but Daniel dismissed it, assuring her it was just her imagination. They continued walking, but the unease lingered. When they reached the park's exit, Sarah glanced back one more time. The figure was gone and she breathed a sigh of relief. As they said their goodbyes and parted ways, she couldn't help but wonder about the mysterious man she'd met on Tinder. Over the next few days, their text conversations became less frequent. Sarah tried to invite Daniel out again, but he always had an excuse. Eventually, he stopped responding altogether. One evening, while watching a horror movie alone in her apartment, Sarah received a message notification. It was from Daniel. "Daniel, I've enjoyed our time together, Sarah, but I have to go." Sarah: "Go? Where?" Daniel: "Somewhere far away where the spirits beckon me." Sarah was confused and a little unnerved. She asked him to explain, but he never responded again. Weeks turned into months, and Sarah couldn't shake off the eerie feeling that had settled in her gut. She decided to do some research about Daniel and discovered something chilling. There was no trace of him on social media, and she couldn't find any information about his existence prior to their Tinder match. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air, and that thought sent a shiver down her spine. Sarah's curiosity began to consume her. Late at night, she would scour the internet for any clues about Daniel's identity. She visited local forums, checked news articles, and even attempted reverse image searches on his profile pictures. But the results were always the same: nothing. It was as though he was a ghost, a phantom that had briefly crossed her path and then vanished without a trace. As time went on, the memory of that eerie night in the park continued to haunt her. She couldn't forget the feeling of being watched, the sight of those white-robed figures standing silently among the trees. She tried to dismiss it as a bizarre coincidence, but her rational mind couldn't explain it away. Terrified, Sarah went to the park where they had taken their moonlit walk that fateful night. She wanted to find answers, but as she stepped into the park, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Dozens of white-robed figures silently standing among the trees, their eyes fixed on her. Sarah turned and ran, her heart pounding in her chest. She never returned to Tinder, and she never saw Daniel again. Some say that he was a ghost, a specter haunting the dating app, looking for someone to share his eerie tales with. Others believe he was simply a master manipulator, luring in unsuspecting victims with his supernatural stories. Regardless of the truth, Sarah's encounter with Daniel remained etched in her memory as a Tinder horror story she would never forget. If you have enjoyed the video, press like and subscribe. New stories are about to come out.